Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Online here, and with Uncharted 4 being released over a month ago, and me having been able to play a bunch of playthroughs of the game, as well as previous titles, I finally decided how I'd rank the Uncharted games. Keep in mind, guys, this is only going to be the console version, so I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to be including Golden Abyss in this list, because obviously it's going to be at the bottom because it doesn't compare to the PS3 titles and the new PS4 title. But with that being said, let's get right into the list. So starting this list off was really hard for me, but in the end, I decided that Uncharted 3 is the worst game out of all 4 Uncharted games. Keep in mind, all these Uncharted games are amazing. I loved all of them, but this had the most flaws when I'm looking back at it. The story was great, but the characters weren't really there. Marlowe and Talbot didn't really add any dynamic as villains to the story at all. They probably were the weakest villains in the whole series itself. And with the whole cutscene transitions between levels, it didn't really feel that smooth. Literally, they had like pitch black, and then it comes back, and you're in Syria now. It wasn't really that smooth, and the game had the most flaws compared to the other ones. It was a really great ride, but I feel like the set pieces were the main thing that they wanted to get down right, and the story came afterwards. And you could just totally tell that, you know, they wrapped the story around the set pieces, and you know, it just felt really out of order. So it's a great game, but still, it's probably the weakest in the series.
See ya!
I'm here off the coast of Panama, where we just recovered what we believe to be the coffin of legendary explorer Sir Francis Drake, who was buried at sea over 400 years ago.
So coming in at number 3 is Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Now, this is the game that started it all for me. I played this back in 2007, probably one of the first games I played on the PlayStation 3, so obviously this has a big part, you know, in my life. This was, like, hands down, probably the best gaming experience I had for, like, my first, you know, PS3 experience. It completely got me hooked onto the Uncharted franchise, and ultimately was the driving force for me to continue buying these games. The story was great. They didn't go over the top on the set pieces. It felt really laid back, and they focused on the story, you know, and Drake and Elena. This is the game that probably had the most Drake and Elena in it, so it was really great. Just seeing you jet ski up above a waterfall instead of, you know, crashing down on a plane, that was like really, you know, it's really more down to earth, and it focused a lot more on the story. They had really great villains in the story too, with the whole cursed El Dorado treasure being like a little bit of a twist at the end, you know, instead of the Lost City, was really great, and it completely, you know, was a really cool twist at the very end of the game. And yeah, so this is why Uncharted Drake's Fortune comes in at number 3. So coming in at number 2, we're getting down to the 2 last games that I've loved in this franchise. And number 2 is Uncharted 4, A Thief's Den. Now, a lot of people are probably surprised by this, because I know the most popular opinion is Uncharted 4 is the best game out there. Being on the PlayStation 4 and all, you know, it's obviously the most graphically amazing, as well as, you know, the open environments. But to me, when I'm talking about ranking these games, I'm talking about how they made me feel, and ultimately how they persuaded me. A lot of people say that nostalgia shouldn't be a factor when you're ranking these games, but I have a completely different opinion. I feel like if you're ranking a games based on your personal opinion, that, you know, nostalgia does have a factor into it, as well as, you know, how they made you feel. And of course, Uncharted 4 was a great ride with great villains like Rafe that actually had a past with Nate's history, and Nadine that actually brought dynamic to the story, unlike Marlowe and Talbot. This was a great story, and ultimately it concluded the Uncharted series on a high note. The pace of the game felt really amazing, and although it wasn't on par to Uncharted 2, it still really felt like they did a one-up on Uncharted 3, and ultimately fixed all their mistakes. The dynamic of bringing Nate's lost brother Sam into the story, and ultimately making a lot more personal and emotional story also has something going for it. Although it's not the best game, Uncharted 4 will still be remembered in the long run and still have a heavy place in my heart.
Hi YouTubers, this is Top Notch Gamer 1, 2, 3, 4 Temple. We didn't play Temple for a long time, so we're recording this.
Yep. So when talking how these games made me feel and how I would rank these games, it's no doubt that Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is way up there. This has probably been the best experience I had playing a video game in my whole life. Between playing the multiplayer with my friend Enoch and recording it for my old channel, to playing the campaign numerous times that had great pacing. And ultimately, it was revolutionary in games. The way the game started with you hanging off the train in the middle of the Himalayas just completely got me hooked, and I remember playing this game for multiple playthroughs, probably at 5 at this point. It's crazy. The dynamic that Lazarevich brought to the story, like feeling like he could do anything at the moment, like killing cameraman Jeff, was really crazy, and it brought a dark point to the story. Although it wasn't too dark, it still felt the tone really serious, and I felt like it was a great one-up to Uncharted series, and ultimately changed the Uncharted series for the long run. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is easily the best game I ever played, and the best game in the Uncharted series. So that's how I would rank the Uncharted series games. So let me know in the comments down below how you'd rank these Uncharted games. Would you have Uncharted 4 at the top, or would you have Uncharted 2 up at the top? I know those are the two most popular games. And also, what do you guys think of Uncharted 3? Do you think that 1 beat Uncharted 3? Did you even play 1? But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these Uncharted games. That's how I'd rank the Uncharted series. Obviously, this is the best game series that I've had in my whole life. It had the best memories for me. And yeah, so anyways guys, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I've been Online, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.